What is up, everybody? My name is Brian. I am Vapworks, and today I'm going to show you how to build all your base. So you're going to need a few simple tools for this project. Phillips head screwdriver, just a regular old pair of pliers. If you're building a post kit, you're going to need a 3/8 wrench, but you can use the pliers. If you're building a wireless all your base, you're going to need an 11/32 wrench. And some sort of clamp. A pair of like C grips like this work quite well, or if you don't have one of those, your old trusty C clamp. You'll also need a block of wood if you're building a full DIY kit. Real quick note about the block of wood: it needs to measure roughly 4 inches by 1.25 inches. You can't be any wider than 1.25 inches. It'll start to interfere with the other bends as you go along, and you'll see that in a minute. But 4 inches by 1.25 inches, 1 inch wide works. Block of wood, steel, aluminum, whatever you happen to have. You will need some sort of abrasive, sandpaper, Scotch-Brite, and we'll go over everything real quick. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to prep our materials. So the base, I sand and chamfer all the edges on the base, but if you did want to paint it or stain it, seal it, go ahead and do that at this time. If you just want an easy way to seal and protect the wood, I recommend like a beeswax mineral oil paste. It's food safe. You can use it on your cutting boards or your other wooden vapes. Super easy to apply. There's virtually no cleanup. It's a great product, and a tub like that will last you a lifetime, more or less. So we prepped our wood. We want to prep our shield. For the full DIY kit, these will come flat. They do get surface conditioned, so I don't know if you can see, but it leaves a decent, like a nice brushed finish. The thing is, it's basically a big belt sander that these get run through, but it does leave a little bit of a burr around the edges and in the slots, and we want to kind of soften those up. So we'll do that now. It's way easier when it's flat than after it's formed. So you can use sandpaper. I like Scotch-Brite, the Scotch-Brite scouring pads. Those work great. You just kind of want to go along all the edges, and you want to make sure you hit the slots as well. And the reason being is when it's formed, the edges of the slots are a little bit more exposed. You want to clean all that up. The other thing too is just from handling and storage, you can kind of get little hairline scratches that they're not very deep, but they're pretty noticeable. If you want to get rid of those, you can do that now. And like I said, the grain goes horizontally, so we just want to lay it flat, make a few passes back and forth, and kind of get rid of all those little hairline scratches and clean everything up nice. So the first step in forming our shield, once everything's been sanded and prepped, is we want to bend up our tabs. And the way we're going to do that is with our pliers. We want the nose of the plier to cover about half of the slot. The very nose of our pliers cover about 50% of the slot, and then we're just going to bend that at a 90-degree angle. Boop. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing on all 3 of them. If you're not exactly 90 degrees, it's not a big deal. When we screw this down to the base, it'll take care of that. It'll pull everything down nice and flat, and we should be good to go. So once we have our tabs bent, now we're going to start to form our octagonal shape, and we're going to use our clamp and our block of wood. We're going to do the same thing as we did with the tabs. We want our block of wood to cover about half, about 50% of the slot. We want to be right on that center line. I'm just going to go ahead and clamp that down and bend it up, and we're shooting for about 45 degrees. If you have a square, one of the speed squares, you can kind of eyeball it from the side here and get your 45 degrees. If you don't, have a protractor or a square, you can use just a rectangular piece of paper. As long as you have 90 degrees, you can fold your short side to the long side, and that forms a 45-degree angle. And again, you can kind of eyeball it. Eyeball your 45 degrees that way. So you're just going to rinse and repeat all the way around. Move on to our second bend. Roughly 50% of our slot on the center line. Clamp it down, bend it up. Give a check with our angle gauge. And you're just going to do that all the way around. And when you are finished, it should look like that. So we want our tabs all facing each other, nice octagonal shape. And once I have everything formed, I like to set it on my base. The base does come pre-drilled. It will have two pre-drill holes for the shield, and we kind of want to line those up and just make sure everything looks the way it's supposed to. Our side panels are flush with the side edges of our base. We have a roughly 3/8 of an inch gap here in the back, and that's for our straps. If we do want to PID mount this, that just gives us a little space for our strap to go. The holes are really just a reference so that you know you have proper spacing side to side, back and forth. If you can move it anywhere you want. Like I said, the holes are really just a reference. If everything doesn't, if the holes in your shield don't line up with the pre-drilled holes, that's okay. Not a big deal. As long as your sides are flush and your spacing in the back is good, if you want to PID mount, then we can go ahead and screw it down. This part's a little fiddly. What I like to do is kind of hold my shield and insert 2 screws, one on each side. Kind of like that, where they're hanging out there a little bit. Now, I'll kind of hover the shield above the base, tip it off to one side, get one side started, and then I'll rock it back in and get the other side going. So we're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver and get one side in, get that going a few turns, and we'll get our other side in there. And there is a decent amount of clearance in the holes in the shield, so you can move it back and forth, side to side, and kind of get everything lined up. Like I said, you want your sides to be nice and flush. Sometimes you may need to adjust the shield a little bit, kind of twist it around, get everything lined up the way you like it. And the screws, once tight, should hold everything in place. I like to get the 2 sides in, and then you can run your 3rd screw in afterwards. Once we have our shield screwed down, we can mount our bracket or our post kit if you have a wired vape. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to put the post kit on real quick. So you'll take your screw and your top cap. You want to get that in there like so. And we'll run a nut down. Just going to spin this all the way down. And take our wrench and our Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to tighten that up. Going to add in our washer and a second nut. Run that all the way down. Tighten that up. Add in our sleeve. and our third nut, and this time we're just going to finger tight. Now, a quick word about the insert and our post are both right-hand threaded. So if we were just to run this in, screw that down and tighten everything up, should we need to remove our post, we could potentially extract the insert from the wood. Now, we don't want to do that. So we're going to use the nut as a jam nut to push against the insert so that we can easily remove our post, should we need to. So like I said, we just want this to be finger tight. We're going to go ahead and screw this in. Again, we don't want to put a boatload of pressure on it. We just kind of want to finger tight, get it snug. Going to put our screwdriver in, and we want to hold the screwdriver stationary. We don't want the screwdriver to rotate at all. And we're going to take our 3/8 wrench and we're going to turn it to the right. We're going to turn it clockwise. Do a little righty-tighty. We're going to snug that up. And now our post is nice and secure. Now, if we want to remove our post, if we say we're switching up from a wired to a wireless device and we want to take our post out, we're going to do the same thing, but just in reverse. So we're going to hold our screwdriver stationary, take our 3/8 wrench, and turn it to the left, counterclockwise. And that's it. It should come right out, and our insert will stay in place. This is a 20 millimeter post. It's the same procedure for the 16 millimeter Ruby twist post. So, all right, now moving on, we're going to mount our coil for our wireless setup. So you'll have in the bag, you'll have a bracket. You'll have 3 screws. 2 screws are shorter, the 1/4 inch length. Our third screw is actually for our clamp. So first we want to mount our bracket. The hole will be up. We're going to mount the hole up, and it should go on just like so. So easiest way I found to do this is I'll take and put 1 screw in, kind of hold that in place, maybe. One of our nuts here. Small fasteners in tight spaces can be a little tricky. Like I'm proving. So we're just gonna get that started. I'm just gonna kind of snug that up just to hold it in place. Get our second screw in. Our second nut started, and again, there's enough clearance in these holes that we can adjust the bracket. We can put some cant to it if we need to, up and down. I like to get this bracket as vertical as possible. So we'll just kind of eyeball that. It's easier to do it now than it is when everything's nice, when everything's tight. But we'll take our 11/32 wrench, and we're going to tighten these up. So we got our bracket in, and our bracket's tight. Now we're going to mount our coil. We got a 25 millimeter coil here, and we have 3 clamps. We have 2 brightly colored clamps and our black clamp. These are actually different materials. So the two colored clamps are going to be PLA plastic. The black clamp is PETG. PETG is a food-safe plastic. It's primarily used in food containers. The reason why I chose different materials, PLA plastic has a tendency to creep over time when it's under tension or pressure, especially in warmer environments. You know, if it's in an attic, or if you keep this in a van or something, it can cause some issues with expansion contraction. PETG doesn't have those issues. It's more stable under pressure or tension. I've been using PLA clamps on all my stuff for about a year now, and I haven't had any issues, but the potential is there. So if you do have an issue where all of a sudden your clamp's slightly loose and your coil's not staying in place, switch up to the PETG clamp, and that should take care of all your issues. So we want to go ahead and mount our coil. We're going to take one of our clamps, and you'll notice that one side has a hex and the other side has a notch for the bracket. So we want to press our nut into the clamp. Now it should sit slightly proud. The nut should sit slightly proud of the clamp. So if it's sticking out just a little bit, that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now we have a TPU spacer, and that spacer is meant to be inserted into our gap. The gap's there so it can fit over the shaft of the coil, and the TPU spacer enables the clamp to spread the clamping force more evenly around the circumference of the ferrule. So you want the block to be in place. It definitely helps, but yeah. So mounting our coil, I'm going to take our clamp, slide it over the shaft with the notch is going to be facing the coil. I'm going to slide that on a little bit. We're going to insert our TPU block. If you notice, the TPU block is offset slightly. It's closer to one edge. It's closer to two edges than the other. You want it to be closer to the top, and this side is going to be towards the shield or towards the coil. So we'll insert that in place. Just kind of hold it there. Then we'll take our longer 5/8 long screw, and we're just going to get that started. We don't want to tighten it down. We just want to get it in there and get it started. And we need to be able to center our coil. If you get this too tight, you could actually bend your tube. We don't want to do that. So keep it nice and loose so you can adjust it. The very first thing we want to do with our coil is we want to make sure it's vertical. And the easiest way to do that is just line up the sides of your coil with the sides of the shield and see that it's nice and vertical, which we're pretty good there. And we want to center it. So we have adjustment fore and aft to get it close to the center. But not all coils are perfect lollipops, right? Sometimes they can be offset to more one side than the other, in which case we're actually going to bend our bracket. So we don't want to bend the coil. Don't try to manipulate the coil's placement by grabbing a hold of this. We actually want to bend the bracket. So we can actually take our pliers and actually bend the bracket to one side or the other to get our coil more centered. And there's actually a second slot here in the back. And that's if we need to, we can actually compound the bracket. So we can bend the bracket more this way and then push the end this side of the bracket over to get a better alignment so that it's properly centered. So, but that actually looks pretty good. It's pretty well centered, so we'll go ahead and tighten that down. Snug that up nice, like so. From here, we could use this just how it sits. It will come with the sidecar, which has two 18s, two 14s, and these cutouts are for the PID straps, should you want to mount this to a PID. If you just want to use it in desk mode, you can just, run your two screws in to the side, just like that. Or if you actually want to mount this to your PID, you can mount the sidecar forward or all the way back, either position, and you're going to need to put your straps on, your PID straps on first. So if we want to mount this in the rearward position, we'll put our back strap on first, like so, and then we will mount our sidecar. And again, if it's going on the PID, I like to have the flush, the sidecar flush with the top surface. So we'll just take our 432, number 4 wood screws, drop those in, and then we can just screw those down, and that's pretty much it. You can also use Velcro, double-sided Velcro, to mount this to a PID, just so you don't have to fiddle with the straps. But the straps do kind of make it nice. So I think that's pretty much about everything. If you have any comments, questions, any problems, leave a comment or shoot me an email. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.